गोबिंद गोपाल सगलियं रोग खंडन साध संगेन गुण रमत नानक शरण पूरन परमेश्वर साध संगेन गुण रमत नानक शरण पूरन परमेश्वर। वाहिगुरु जी का खालसा वाहिगुरु जी की फतेह। संगत जी, पावन पवित्र बाणी of ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਰਜਨ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਸਲੋਕ ਸਹਿਸਕ੍ਰਿਤੀ, 59th slok that we've all just listened to. In this slok, Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah Ji is saying to us, kripa karant gobind gopala. That when the Vaheguru Ji, they bless us with the kripa, with their grace, kripa karant gobind gopala. Both gobind and gopale are names for Vaheguru Ji. Kripa karant, when they bless us with their kripa, sagalayang rog khandana, all of our diseases, rog khandana, are destroyed when Satguru Ji Paatshah Ji's kripa flows into us. Sangat ji, when we look at what Sri Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji say, they say that karm khand ki bani jor the hor na koi hor. Sache Paatshah Ji say to us, when we reach that realm of karm khand, khand Sangat ji, it comes from that word khand, tota, peace. Peace meaning, how has Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah Ji taken that word peace, tota, to translate to meaning realm or place? ਅਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹਦਾ ਅਰਥ ਕੀਤਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ ਉਸ ਜਗ੍ਹਾ ਉੱਪਰ ਪਹੁੰਚਣਾ, reach that place. When we look at this world, it's all scattered. It's all scattered because amongst it, dividing it into separate sections and parts, Sangat ji, is the ocean. And that's what Satguru Ji Paatshah is talking about there. He's talking about those tote, those khands, the different regions of this world. But when they're talking about place over here, Guru Nanak Dev Ji Paatshah is talking about place, meaning when we reach that place within ourselves. And they're talking here, they're saying kripa karant gobind gopale sagalyang rog khandane. They're saying that when you bless us with your grace, but when do you bless us with your grace? Paatshah is saying karma khand ki bani jor. What is that state? What is that place that I reach within myself? That karma khand ki bani jor. That place, when I get to that place, what happens? I have jor inside of me. I have power inside of me. And over here, the word bani. Bani means then what my makeup is. Not the makeup somebody wears upon their face. Meaning what somebody is made up of now. What is, when we say, what is this person all about? Inna da banantar kiya. Ye kaade bane hoya. When we say, what is that person made out of? They're saying that when you reach that place of Sangat ji, of karam means bakshish. Bakshish here, karam, is from the Farsi, the Persian language, meaning bakshish. That when that flow, when Vaheguru Ji's grace flows into us, when we open ourselves to that power that we have not got access to under the influence of our ego. And when we surrender and let go, what comes in? Kende karam khand, we reach that place of karam, of bakshish, of grace. Kende then, how do we know? Nishani bhi koi hogi na ki aapa karma tak pahunch gaye, aapa bakshish tak pahunch gaye. But to get bakshish, Sangat ji, if we want anything placed in a bowl, that bowl needs to be placed the right way round. ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਭਾਂਡਾ ਪੁੱਠਾ ਮਾਰ ਦਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਣੀ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਪਊਗਾ? If we were to turn a bowl upside down, how do we expect any water to go into it? It's not possible. But when that bowl is turned the right way round, and ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਤਾਂ ਉਸ ਭਾਵ ਭਾਂਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਡੋਂਗ ਆ, ਭਾਂਡੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਰਕੇ ਡੋਂਗ ਹੋਣ ਦੇ ਕਾਰਨ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਣੀ ਟਿਕ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਆ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ। and ਅਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਖੇਡ ਇਹੀ ਆ। whenever ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, when we look at a bowl has a dong means it has a low point where it dips in, and when we dip from inside, and when we create that bowl from inside, meaning when we go into that place of nimr, when we go into that place of humility, when we lower ourselves, ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਨੀਵੇਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਈਏ ਤਾਂ ਫਿਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਪਾਣੀ ਪਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਤਿਆਰ ਹੋ ਜੰਨੇ ਆ। But when we lower ourselves from inside, when we're not now identifying ourselves with that false sense of who we think we are now, we're not trying to become bigger and bigger with recognizing ourselves by a caste, by a gender, by a color, and then due to our color, gender, caste, creed, all of these things, now we're not allowing that to become our identity and then looking down at somebody else. But now instead I've made that bowl from inside, and then what happens? And then the water of bakshish, of karam, can come and flow inside of me. Then karma khand ki, how will I know? How will I know that I'm not under the influence of my ego now? I'm not acting from that place, because now I'll have bani, jor, because my makeup, what I'm made out of now, will be of jor. It will be strength. I'll have the shakti. If you look at the word here, jor, rare no pyaryo onkade ode thalle, the rara has an onkad underneath it, because so that means it's singular. Jor here is a quality, but it's a noun here, meaning we'll have that part of Vaheguru Ji. Ek Vaheguru Ji oh bakshish roop ne, oh shakti roop ne, because now we'll have Vaheguru Ji's power flowing through us, because we've opened ourselves up to that power, to that one. And then Sangat Ji will be full of strength. So inside of us we'll have strength. And how will we know we've got strength? Sache Pachi saying kende tithe hor na koi hor, because there will be nobody else there now. What does it mean that nobody else will be there now? Pachi ji can lage, there will only be one thing over there. There will be tithe jod mahabal sur, where jithe surma hundaya, where there is a surma, a warrior, where there is a warrior, Pachi saying a great warrior, tithe hor na koi hor, nobody else now can come into that place. And the truth is, when we've got Vaheguru Ji's Shakti flowing through us, when we've got Vaheguru Ji's grace flowing through us, then nobody else can come and sit in that place, because nobody will be able to come before that great warrior. Paach kende why? Kende tithe jod mahabal sur, tin mah ram rahya par pura. Because Sangat Ji, there'll be Ram. Now there will be the Shakti, there will be the power of that one flowing through us. And when we go further into this Pauri, Sangat Ji, when Maharaj Ji says that Sito Sita Mema Mahe, there'll only be the praise of that one. That's what will be sown in. Will be sown in the praise of that one. Fir kanenge kinde taake roop na kathne jahe. That one, when somebody becomes as powerful as that, you will not be able to describe that one. Their beauty cannot be said. But Sangat Ji, what I want to focus on is this part when Pachi kende na oh mare na thage jahe. They cannot be killed. Na oh mare na thage jahe, and they cannot be deceived. Meaning, what is it that itthe hor na koi hor, that nobody else can come there? Anger cannot come there now. Now, Sangat Ji, arrogance cannot come there. It's got no place now, because I've become so strong. I've got so much strength because I couldn't do it. The ego just cannot do it. The ego will make me go further and further into that dark pit. Just like Sache Paatji saying, home mela, kab huna tuve. Because home is mela. Because when we're trying to wash something with our ego, the ego is filthy part. Is kende ho mela mal kabhu na tova. Kende if anger comes to try and attack us, if arrogance comes to try and attack us, and I try and wash that arrogance with my ego, with my eye. So for example, Sangat ji, ek mail nu dho reha ya, eh kiਵੇਂ ho ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ? If something dirty is trying to wash something dirty, it's just going to get worse. So I'm often trying to fight a battle from my ego. And so na ho mare na thage jahe Sangat ji. But now I can't die now, meaning I cannot die in ignorance now. I can see everything clearly. Everything's become so clear now because I've actually, through meditating on God's name, I've become separate. I've stepped away. That what somebody said. Sangat ji, I can't remember his name. He began with a D, but he said, I am because I think. Meaning that because I've got these thoughts, I've got existence, but not realizing it's when I'm stuck in these thoughts, I'm in Maya. I'm in this illusion. And then Sangat ji, but it's only when we go beyond that, beyond the ego, Sache Paatshah ji, then Vaheguru ji's kripa comes and actually flows in. My Veer has put his name up, but I won't be able to pronounce it. So he's going to try and help me out here. So I think it's Descartes. There we go. There we go. Yes, he said I'm right. Thank you, Veerji. Brilliant. Why, Sangat ji? But he started off. He did not start off on the wrong path, meaning that I don't want to use the word wrong, Sangat ji. Let's just say he was inquiring, wanting to know his true self. And as he was trying to inquire and he was trying to come to know his true self, so this is the exact quote that he said was, I think, therefore I am. Thank you, my pyare Veerji. So I think, therefore I am. So he's saying that my existence, because I can think, I have an existence. He set off inquiring to know the inner depths of his own self. So he started off with doubting everything, which is actually a very good way of setting off, not believing in anything. Because it's not, I've always said this, it's not about believing, it's about yearning. If you read Guru Granth Sahib Ji Sache Paatshah Ji's Bani, you'll notice that there is this pattern inside of Sache Paatshah Ji's Bani telling us that everything comes from yearning. That's why Guru Arjan Dev Ji Paatshah Ji said as well, kende that Firho kho jantiya, kende that I set off, kende in that search of that one. And Sangat ji, because this is sun yaar hamare sajjan. What is this? This is called Bairag. What Sangat ji, what then the older Sanatan scriptures refer to as Vairagya. And this is Bairag, that's that inner catch, jado kise paase catch ho jabe. Very different to depression. In depression there is no catch, there is no yearning, there is no cha, there is no excitement to know. This is to that urge to that inner wanting to know. Sache Paatshah Ji saying here, my V's helping me out here. Home firon divani aval baval tis karan har toliye. That I'm going around like this crazy person out to seek my true Vaheguru Ji, but out to seek what? My true self. That's why this is what this path has always been about, not about believing. So he set off in that way of not believing anything, but into just wanting to know. But he got stuck in that manzal, that level of thought. But our thought is based on our experiences through these senses. Whatever we've experienced through these senses have built up inside of our memory. And all that we do is then we recycle that memory via our thoughts. So Sangat ji, oh, we've seen something now, we've acknowledged that now, and now that as we've seen something new, not in our memory, and then that creates a thought. So he got stuck there. But this path is greater than that. Sache Paat ji say, when you get to karma khand ki bani jor, na ho mare, na thage jahe, because over there, no, ote koi maut nahi hundi. Maut meaning you do not die in the sense of that these chor, none of these thieves can come and rob you. You're fully alive there. That Sangat ji, when you know that arrogance hasn't got a place in your life anymore, then you know there's some grace flowing through you. But within that, there's still a yearning. Because somebody can become very numb and somebody can become very zombie-like and be very distant to their emotions inside. So within those emotions, they don't feel anything. They don't feel happiness. They don't feel anger. And one might think that, oh, look, have they become that warrior? Absolutely not. How do you know? Because when you're there, when you become that warrior, because you've got that Shakti, you've got the grace of Vaheguru Ji inside of us, there will be this abundance, overflowing amount of love and compassion that is oozing out to people. And Sangat ji, there will be this yearning to know that one, to experience that one within everything. And then Sache Paat kehne, "Nao mare na thage jahe." And that is the nishani kehne, "Jinke Ram vasa man mahe." But now inside of their mind is residing that one, that Ram, that Vaheguru Ji. So Sangat ji, this isn't Japji Sahib Katha. So coming back here, that was just to understand the grace, the Shakti. And that wasn't a part of the plan of the Katha. But when I just saw this, I thought, chal, khech denne ha thoda ja kam. Sache Paatshah ji ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਿਆਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿਰਪਾ karant gobind gopala. So when Vaheguru Ji shower us with their grace ਕਰਕੇ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਣਾ ਭਾਂਡਾ ਆਪਣਾ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਸਿੱਧਾ, ਨਿਮਰਤਾ ਦਾ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ ਭਾਂਡਾ, ਤਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਆ ਗਈ ਕਿਰਪਾ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਗਲਿਆਂ ਰੋਗ ਖੰਡਣ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ now all of our rogs, our diseases have been destroyed now. ਉੱਥੇ ਹੁਣ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ, ਉੱਥੇ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਕੋਈ ਟਿਕੇ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਆ, ਨਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੋਈ ਫੇ ਹੰਕਾਰ ਆ ਸਕਦਾ, ਨਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੋਈ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਲੋਭ ਆ ਸਕਦਾ, ਨਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਕੋਈ ਕ੍ਰੋਧ ਆ ਸਕਦਾ ਆ. Because where ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ exists, their ਕਿਰਪਾ exists, there is no arrogance there, Sangat ji, because Vaheguru's kirpa only came because there was humility there. So then Paat ji say to us, kende Saadh sangain, the rog, the disease, remember, is from the ego, then comes all the rest of the vices. Saadh sangain gun ramat, kende in the company of saints. Saadh sangain. And look, Sangat ji, it always comes back to this, doesn't it? Because Saadh kaun hai? Who is a Saadh? Sangat ji, if everything is just energy, and the energy of that, there is just one energy of that one. Saadh kaun hai? Who is then this Saadh, this saint that Sache Paatshah ji always talk about? Bhai Gurdas ji say, kende naun darwaje Saadh, Saadh sadaya. They say that one that has controlled all the 9 gates of their body. Kende naun darwaje Saadh, Saadh sadaya. Kende then they can actually call themselves kende a sadhu. So Sangat ji, if we look at this, ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ 9 ਦਰਵਾਜ਼ੇ, the 9 gates. Saadh means to control, that have controlled now their eyes, their ears, from listening to slander, listening to jhoot, to absolute rubbish, looking at certain things. The way this rasna is used to taste certain things, to touch, Sangat ji, to smell, kende 9 darwaje Saadh. And then kende Saadh sadaya, then they can be called a true sadhu. And Sangat ji, when we are in the company of those type of beings that haven't got that catch themselves, because when we're in the company of those, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਤੇ ਆਪ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੋਈ ਟਿਕਾ, if somebody hasn't got that patience, that dheeraj, that self-control inside of them, they are all over the place themselves, And if you are lost as well, and you then come into the company of that person that is been controlled by their senses, by their eyes, by their taste, by what they want to listen to, they're not all there, just constantly go back on their phone, they're all over the shop. When you go and sit in their company and you yourself is searching, and they're just going to create more of a mess inside of you. But how do we know? When we're in the company of a sadhu that has controlled their own self, live in a discipline themselves, they'll be so controlled and self-centered. Not self-centered, maaf karna. No, let's take away the word self, just call it centered. So balanced. That vibration will then start to spill over and onto us. When we see how controlled they are, how they live, what they do with their eyes. But it won't be just about observing them, it's greater than that. It's the energy that is coming off them because they're at so much shant themselves. They're at so much peace themselves. So being in their company, in the Saadh, Sangat, Guna, Ramat, what will happen is they'll actually inspire us effortlessly to Guna, Ramat, to actually then to constantly, Ramat means to utter, to say Guna, and always focus on the qualities and praising that one. Kende Guna Ramat, Udran, kripa. Kende then what will happen? Kende with that ones, have I gone Saadh Sangat Guna Ramat? Oh, there we go. Nanak Sharan Puran Parmesura. Kende what will happen? Kende praising that one in their company, because that's what they will inspire us to do, instead of constantly blaming other people or always saying that why did this happen. They'll actually show us that path of how to live in gratitude and praise. Kende Nanak Sharan Puran Parmesura. Kende then they'll actually help us to take protection, Sharan Puran Parmesura, of that complete perfect Parmeswar of Vaheguru Ji. And now Guru Arjan Dev Ji Path Ji in the next slok, they talk to us about those that are actually deceiving and those that are actually fake. So there's two things here. The Guru Sahib Ji is saying to us, can they be aware? It's a warning. Be careful. Be alert. But at the same time, Sangat Ji, it's not just to be alert and be careful of others, but it's actually saying here in the last half of the last Pangati, it's saying that a Sant is that one that is always being cautious and conscious of not actually falling into this way themselves. So two things we're going to take from this next slok. Number one is to be self-aware that we don't end up like this ourselves, or we are not like this currently. And if we are, Guru's wisdom can awaken us. Number two is to be weary of others that may be like this. And what is that? Let's have a look. Sache Pacha Ji is saying to us, Kende Siyamalang Madura Manukhyam. So they're saying Kende Siyamalang. Sangati Ji, Siyamalang ki hundaya. Siyamalang translates to when somebody is beautiful. And this isn't just about looks here. This isn't just generally about somebody's looks. This is about, when somebody's actually got maybe a shine to their face. Somebody's quite radiant and they look quite, when you look at them, they look very religious, they look very spiritual. And somebody, that shine could be for all sorts of reasons. That could be somebody, sometimes you'll see somebody that's quite wealthy, they've got that little shine on them. It could be for various different reasons why somebody's got that beauty upon their face. So not going into that too much, because then I just get carried away. So restraining myself. Siyamalang, and then Madur Manukhyang. Manukhyang is talking about this person. So there's people out there, Pachi is saying, and there's people out there that are like that, they match even the looks of, they look spiritual, even their actual face and the way it's actually shining. But then the other thing is, they're very madhur. Madhur Sangat ji means sweet. Madhur is often used as a way to describe when somebody's eating honey and how sweet that honey is. The voice and the way they speak is very honey-like. So they speak very sweetly. And Sangat ji, and now that's quite a lot to actually pull somebody in. So they've got the looks, and now they're like, हाँ आओ प्यारे हो तुसी बहुत ही किरपा है तुहाडे उपर वाहिगुरू आजो आजो. And then they've got their talk as well, and they talk sweetly as well, and they like give this subtle bump to people as well. Subtle bump means, well, same thing in, everyone knows it in Punjabi and English. Pump, same thing. When somebody actually gives somebody this false praise, but they do it in such a way that they don't even realize that they're doing this. But it's just pulling people in, and they'll say, "Wah, tusi ta bahut hi change ha, tanu inna tade te inni kirpa aa, you've got so much kirpa upon you," and speaking like this. Baach ji kehne kende syamlang madhur manukhyang, kende but kende par kende hridayang Sangat ji means inside of their heart. Kende par jira ona da hirda a, kende hridayang bhoom varana. Bhoom means dharti, bhoom means the earth. Over here they're talking about the earth of your heart. Kende tere kende hriday roop dharti de andar kende varane, kende othe ki betha, kende othe betha var. But inside of you, you've got this var, you've got this enmity towards other people. You've got var towards other people, but you come across so sweet to other people. But inside is completely different. Nivant Sangat ji means Nevda vi badaya. Nevda means Sangat ji always constantly bowing down, meaning that they go to people and har vele koi e chal jande a, and they'll go in front of Guru Granth Sahib ji constantly bowing down, or even go to another sadhu and goes to other saints and they bow down to these saints all the time. Or Sangat ji, if they are claiming to be a saint, and then even when people come to see them, and they'll always show like their nimrata outside this fake kind of humility, and they'll always put their heads down and bow down towards them. Nivant, Hovant, Mithya, but they're bowing down, Hovant, Mithya, but it's false. Mithya ya. Par Chetanang Sant Savajjane. Over here, Sangat ji, but a true saint is always weary of these people. So there's a few ways we can look at this. A true saint can spot these fake people, and they're always weary about them. So basically they know, they're always very aware, Sant, these true saints, Savajjane, meaning the true saints, they can spot these people that this is a complete fake here. And that's why it's so important for us that when we are on this path, Sangat ji, when we're on this path of spirituality, sometimes this person, it might not be that they're out to deceive someone, but actually they've ended up deceiving their own selves. They've ended up fooling their own selves. That actually inside they've still got all of these grudges towards people. They've got this enmity. They've got this hatred towards people. But they're doing everything right on the outside. So they're doing the whole thing. They'll bow down. They'll always go like this. Keep nime. They'll always speak the right way. But that's why it's so important to be in the company of those that are true, the Savajjane, the true ones, Sangat ji, so we are able to recognize these things within ourselves, because often enough we are actually in denial of our own inner state. That even though that we'll end up trying to cover it up, we try and even fool ourselves that nay, मेरे अंदर वैर ਤਾਂ नहीं वैर थोड़ा हैगा, बस मेरे कोल ਤਾਂ बस मिठास ही आ. Sangat ji, somebody will ask them, You know, they'll even say it themselves that, you know, I've only got sweetness upon my tongue. But when you speak to them, some of the things that will come out, you know that there's something doesn't add up. And what happens is we haven't got the ability to see these things in our own self. But the true saints of Vaheguru Ji have got this awareness, they've got this chetanang. They've got this chetanang inside, they're able to spot this very easily. So that's why we should constantly be doing ardas. That's why when you read even books like Bandagi Nama was written by Raghbir Singh Bir, and Sangat Ji in there he writes that when you are serious about this path and you want to go beyond the noise of this mind and thinking that I am this, and you want to actually experience Vaheguru Ji and experience Anand within yourself, if you really want to get to Anand and bliss and meet Vaheguru Ji, then he said a very important part is, yes, you can start making your own efforts and you receive the blessings of the Panj Pyare and you make your own effort in the mornings. But he said one thing is very important on this path, alongside you making your efforts, is to actually yearn to be in the company of those saints that have got so much awareness that any dirt that is sitting inside of us, bang, they're able to spot it. Straight away they'll be able to see through us and they'll be able to know, because they have got that awareness. Chetanang, Sant Savajjane. So Sangat Ji, I'm not translating it as it's saying there on the screen, that beware of him. Over here, because one of the arths that has been done by Friedcourt Steek is saying that the Sants are actually aware. So they are the ones, the true Savajjane, the true ones. Savajjane also comes from the word friend, but means the true friend of Vaheguru Ji. They're able to know this. So somebody can bow down, they can do all of that, and they fool themselves and they'll go, oh. They may not say it straight away, but they'll be able to spot that dirt inside of you. Sangat Ji, and I have experienced these things myself, being in the company of great saints. And I can't share the name of some of these saints because they're still alive. Because a true saint will always say that, don't you ever do our upama and praise us and speak of us, of a personal actual interaction where we've, opened something up, but don't ever share it with the Sangat. And they'll always say that when we've gone from here, when we've left this world, physically, this body, then they say, "Fe tusi jinna marji, jo vi kehna fe tusi keh sakde." But once we've left, then you can say what you want. I'll share something, one of my personal own little journeys. That being in the presence of these saints that are so aware, Chetanang Sant Savajjane. That's why then all of this will make sense. That's why then in the last Salok as well, where Sadhguru Ji Sache Pachi when they said to us, Saadh Sangen Gunaramat, that being in the Sangat of the Sadhus, Sache Pachi saying that's what will save us, that's what will keep us away. And that's how we'll be able to get the kripa from Vaheguru Ji. So over here, Chetanang Sant Savajjane. So even though, and exactly, you know what, this wasn't a planned part of my katha, this is something just literally came to me as Sangat Ji, when I do this katha, for me it's not, for me it's not a performance action. For me it's like I'm sitting here with the Sangat. I'm sitting with the Sangat and I'm doing vichar with the Sangat, and it's like we're sharing. So I did exactly this. This is many years ago. And sometimes, when you fool yourself, you think you're doing quite well on this path. But it takes a true, pure, clean mirror to be able to see inside of you. So it's like going in front of a mirror. That mirror won't lie to you, and that's what true Sant is. And when I went to see, I was with another Gursik, and we both went and did the whole thing, as Partij is talking about from here. Did all the mother speaking, spoke very sweetly, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਕੇ ਬਹੁਤ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਹੋਈ and all of that, and that wasn't fake, that wasn't fake in that sense at all. But when Bhai saying, it's not saying that you are doing it in to be deceitful and you're deceiving somebody, but meaning that what does Maharaj mean, that when it becomes mithya, that you bowing down becomes false. So your bowing down becomes false in that way, that not that you are pretending. I know they've used the word pretending. It doesn't mean pretending here. It's not that you're pretending, it becomes false. So for you, you're being genuine, but you've not actually reached that place of actually being humble. You're not actually bowing down. You've not actually reached that place. So in that sense, it's false. ਗੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਪਕੜਿਓ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਥੋੜੀ ਜੀ ਬਰੀਕ ਆ. It's a little subtle, but try and capture this. It's not pretending. I'll say again, repeat it. It's not pretending. It's become false, even though I've genuinely bowed down to someone. It's not just about my situation here. This is the arth here, the translation. I'm genuinely bowing down, but because my actions, yet my state from inside isn't actually matching with the bowing. Because yet inside there's still some filth there. So in that sense, I've done that, put my hands together, sat down and had a little conversation, and they said that don't worry, prashada pehla shaklu fe aapa gal karde hain. They said don't worry, eat something first and then we'll have a little chat. And I thought, oops. Something's not oops, sorry, it was like ooh, that, because it's one of those sants that just when they've got this thing where they squinch their eyes and they just, it's like a CT scan looking straight through you, but they can actually see your karam, they can actually see your actions. So I just thought, that's it, I know something's up here. Prashada shakya, we've eaten, and they looked at me and they said, haan ki gal hui? I said, nahi Baba ji, theek hai, sara theek hai Baba ji. I said, everything's all good, everything's all good. And he says, ki gal hui? Kehinde apni singni na bada khijda hai. They said, why do you get so annoyed with your singni? Why do you get so annoyed with your wife? And I was like, what? I was like, nahi Baba ji, nahi, no. And Sangat ji, and then I just thought, oh, actually, yeah, there's been a few times I've got quite irritated, and that irritation's just inside of me. And I just said, Baba ji to samata baksho. And I just said, look, just show me the way, show me the path, because the saints are there to show us the path. Mere har pritam ki koi baat sunave, so bhai so mera veer. Anybody that can tell me about the path to Vaheguru Ji is actually my true friend, is my brother. Sangat ji, ਜਦੋਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਆ ਨਾ, this is filled with so much. It's so rich when we look at this, Sangat ji. Sache Paatsh ji saying to us here, Kadinavant hovant mithya chetanang sant savajjane. Sangat ji, that's the importance of being around somebody that is enlightened. Somebody else that is stuck in falsehood themselves, what are they going to do? Pump mari jana, pump. They're going to give you false pump. They're going to say, theek hai, yeah, she deserves it. But a sant will look straight through you and say, go, sudhar jawe, banda ban ja. Say, sort yourself out. Sort yourself out. So that way, if that is actual being inside, having that irritation, arrogance, that means that bowing when we talk about here, where Sache Paatshah Ji is saying to us, Nivant is supposed to come from inside, and then the body, it happens to the body as well. But Paatshah Ji ਤਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕੁਝ ਖੇਡ ਹੋਰ ਹੀ ਬਣ ਗਈ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ ਰਿਦਯੰਗ ਭੂਮ ਨਿਰਵੈਰਣ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਵੈਰਣੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਰਿਦਯੰਗ ਭੂਮ ਵੈਰਣੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ but inside ਹਲੇ you still got that ਵੈਰਣੇ, over here it's hatred and whatever it is. But that's why Sache Paatshah Ji say to us, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਿਨ ਮਨ ਹੋਰ ਮੁਖ ਹੋਰ ਸੇ ਕਾਂਡੇ ਕੱਚੇ ਆ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਿਨ ਮਨ ਹੋਰ, there's those people that Bhagat Farid Ji say, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ that the mind is something else, ਜਿਨ ਮਨ ਹੋਰ, but then ਮੁਖ ਹੋਰ, ਮੁਖ, but then what they're saying is something else, but what is inside is something else. They're not conning someone. Understand this. They're not conning someone, but that is their state inside. Jin man hor, mukh hor, but Paatshah ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੇ ਕਾਂਡੇ ਕੱਚੇ, but actually they're false yet. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਲੇ ਉਹ ਪੱਕੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਬਣੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹਲੇ ਉਹ ਕੱਚੇ ਨੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ meaning that they are unripe yet. They need to ripe yet. But ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, I was listening to something today, and it wasn't Sikhi related. It wasn't anybody from Sikhi, but it was just somebody talking about this yearning inside to become one. Wasn't talking from any perspective of any religions or anything, but it was talking about that oneness. And what he said that the first thing on this path, the first thing in this path is you being able to recognize, I am actually caught up in the matrix. I am caught up in the illusion. I am serving the illusion that I don't actually know the truth yet. And if you see a true master, a true master will always say that, at least be able to say this much, that what you are not aware of, that hasn't come into your awareness yet, be able to say that, yes, I'm not aware of that yet. I'm still under this illusion. Instead of saying, but I do believe in it, says, no, don't believe in it, but have faith. Maaf karna, have faith in your yearning, in your that inner catch, Sangat Ji. First thing he said is to admit that, and that's exactly whatever he was saying. Like I said, he wasn't quoting any religious text. He was actually not coming from any religious perspective, but saying this is exactly what Sache Paatshah Ji is saying. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ first of all, Paatshah Ji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਤਾਂ ਲਓ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਹੋਵੋਗੇ, ਜੇ ਤੂੰ ਕਹਿਣਾ I believe, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ I believe in that anyway, I know that anyway, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ then you can't even start the journey. Drop believing, drop saying I know. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ if you want to start this journey, where do you start from? You start from hum andale and bikhe bikrate kyo chal hai gur chali. ਅਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਿਆਰ ਇਹ ਮਾਰਗ ਹੀ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਕਹਿ ਦੇਵੇ ਮੈਂ ਅੱਤ ਦਾ ਅੰਨਾ ਆ, ਜਿਹਨੇ ਕਹਿ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਮੈਂ ਅੱਤ ਦਾ ਅੰਨਾ ਆ, ਤਾਂ ਸਮਝ ਲਓ ਕਿ ਉਹਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ ਇਹ ਮਾਰਗ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਉਸ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਦੇ ਤੱਕ ਪਹੁੰਚਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ. ਪਿਆਰੋ, that person that says that I am blind, I am utterly blind, I am stuck in this bhikya, in this illusion, you can say their path has started. हम अंधले अंध बिखे बिखराते क्यों चाल है गुरु चाली. How do I walk? When you ask yourself that question from inside, how do I walk? And Sangat Ji, I'm telling you, then the signs will start coming. How do you walk? It'll start something somehow will start to guide you, because you become thirsty now, because you're going around and you're asking that this Mohan Lal Pyare, you're saying that where is this Mohan? You're searching now for that Pyara, for that enticing one. Then you're saying anyone हैगा मेरी आवाज़ सुनने वाला? Is there anyone that will listen to me? Is there any true yaar? Is there any true friend that actually knows the way because they are there themselves? कहंदे सुन यार हमारे सज्जन, एक करो बेनंतिया, एक I've only got one thing left inside of me now. No, not two things, just one thing here. This isn't talking about ek as in Rabb. It's saying I've only got one thing left inside of me, and that's one is what karo benanti. I've only got one request left. That's it. We've got to get to that point when we only have one question left inside of us. Then the path will start. The path will then be created for us. The journey, that's the word I'm looking for, maaf karna pyareo. The journey will start for us. The journey will begin for us. But there's only going to be one question left inside first. Ek karo benantiya. What's that? Tis mohan lal pyare. Hon feron ko jantiya. I'm looking for that one now. That's it. That's all I want. The moment we say that's the only question I've got left, then our journey will begin. ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਚੇਤਨੰਗ ਸੰਤ ਸਵੱਜਣੇ. And that's why the ones that are there, they have got so much awareness, they will not give us any false pomp, but they will tell us exactly where we are sitting. ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਚੇਤ ਮੂੜਾ, ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਅਚੇਤ ਆ, ਅਚੇਤ ਦਾ ਭਾਵ ਬੇਸਮਝ. But that one that has no understanding, besamjya, kende achet mooda ya, that one that is actually mooda, a fool. Kende achet mooda na janant, he doesn't know the way. But and that's okay, Sangat ji. But it's about being truthful to say, I don't know the way. Achet mooda na janant. Hun pyare othe appa kite, we want to get somewhere. And we're lost and we don't know how to get there. And whoever goes past us that knows the way, and they'll say to us, ठीक है, we'll say, ठीक, मैंने पता. Oh, मैंने पता, मैं तो जानता रास्ता. I know the way. पर पता है नहीं असल विच. हल्ले भी दुखी, हल्ले भी माया दे विच फसे पैने, but still stuck in that illusion, stuck in our thoughts, stuck in our head. Ain't got a clue, but just not admitting it. Nah, I'm alright, thanks. I know what I'm doing. Paatshah ji ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਚੇਤ ਮੂੜਾ ਨਾ ਜਾਣੰਤ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਘਟੰਤ ਸਾਸਾ ਨਿਤ ਪ੍ਰਤੇ. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ that time is running out. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ a fool is that doesn't know that time is running out. That ਘਟੰਤ, that something is reducing. And why is that? ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਸਾ, my breaths are reducing. Every breath that I've taken, they are reducing now, the number that I've got left to take. Nit prate, every moment they are reducing. This fool isn't aware of this. They're not realizing that chijant means that the strength of this body. Unnu ki hunda chijjana bhav asal vich pyareo, the word chijant comes from the word chijjana. Chijjana hunda jadon kapda chijjan ਲੱਗ ਪਵੇ ਨਾ, chijjan ਦਾ ਭਾਵ ਹੁੰਦਾ when you ਜੋ ਕੋਈ ਕੱਪੜਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਮਾਵਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਭੈਣਾਂ ਨਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਪਤਾ ਆ ਇਹ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਦਾ. ਤਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹ ਦਿਸਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਵੇ ਕਿ ਧਾਗਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆ ਉਹਦਾ ਵੱਖਰਾ ਹੋਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਵੇ, ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਹੁਣ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਦਿਸਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਵੇ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਧਾਗਾ ਅਲੱਗ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ. ਛਿੱਜਣਾ means ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ when that cloth is starting to wear out, it's starting to wear out so much that you can start to see through it now, and the material of it, that fine pieces of strands that make the cloth have started to separate now. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਹਲੇ ਸਮਝ ਆਈ, ਅਚੇਤ ਹੈ, ਬੇਸਮਝਿਆ, does not understand that chijant, what maha sundari kaya, this body of yours that you are so caught up in thinking it's so beautiful. Sundari kaya, sundar means beautiful, kaya means body. ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਹਲੇ ਪਤਾ, ਸਮਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਂਦੀ ਪਈ, does not come to this understand that ਕਾਲ ਕੰਨਿਆ. Kende Kanya means daughter, Sangat ji. Kal means death. Kende that the daughter of death, graste means khana, means to eat, come from the we get the loves of grahi. Grahi means a burki, a piece of food. Graste means us grahi no khana, to eat that food, meaning we do not realize this, that the daughter of death is graste, is eating away at us. And now you'll ask, who's the daughter of death? The daughter of death is old age. We know ਖਾਈ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਪਰ ਆਪਾਂ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਪਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਗਵਾਚੇ ਪਿਆ ਗਰਭ ਕਰਤਾ ਹੈ ਦੇਹ ਕੋ ਬਿਨ ਸੇ ਛਿਨਮੈ ਮੀਤ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਧੰਨ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਤੇਗ ਬਹਾਦਰ ਜੀ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਗਰਭ ਕਰਤਾ ਹੈ ਦੇਹ ਕੋ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ he's got so much pride about this body ਆਦੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਕਿੰਨੀ ਸੁੰਦਰ ਮੇਰਾ ਸੁੰਦਰ ਸਰੀਰ ਮਹਾ ਸੁੰਦਰੀ ਕਾਇਆ look how beautiful my body is looking down at others because of their looks and saying but you know what I'm obviously the best looking here, innit? So caught up in having that pride, knowing that they've got a place in society because of the way they look. People come running around you because of the way I look. कहंदे गर्भ करता देह को बिन से छिनमै मीत कहंदे छिनमै within a click of a finger कहंदे it's going to be gone. पाँच कहंदे ये तो कहंदे छिजदी जांदी आ it's getting old कहंदे the daughter of death old age is eating away at you and you're asleep to that कहंदे रचांत पुरखे कुटुंब लीला instead कहंदे what's happened to you you're caught up in the leela in the play of what in the play of kutumb of your family ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਰਚ ਗਿਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਰਚੰਤ you become entangled in it you started to think this is real you have now fallen asleep ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਸ ਮੂੰਹ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੌਂ ਗਿਆ ਮਰ ਗਿਆ you're actually now dead asleep in this so caught up in this play of this family ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਅਨਿਤ ਆਸਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ you've got so many hopes and desires just to expand on this illusion on this material world anit those asa that don't come to an end those endless desires can they for what can they for bikya for maya for that what is temporary binod you're caught up in the pleasures of this material world can they pramant now can they parmada firdaya just wandering around lost from inside even though you've accumulated so much ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਬਹੁ ਜਨਮ ਹਾਰਿਓ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ it's been so many lifetimes that I keep making the same mistakes and I keep losing ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸ਼ਰਨ ਨਾਨਕ ਕਰੁਣਾ ਮਿਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ now ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜਾ ਪਿਆਰਿਆ ਆ ਜਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਅਰਜਨ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਸਿੰਘ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ come now ਕਹਿੰਦੇ come to the sanctuary ਕਹਿੰਦੇ lose before that one and say admit you are blind ask for the path ਕਹਿੰਦੇ come into that sharan that sharan sangaji we enter that sharan when we say that hum andale and bikhe bikhrate kyo chal hai gur chali sangaji when the question comes from that pain ਜਦੋਂ ਅਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਸਵਾਲ ਆਪਣੇ ਅੰਦਰੋਂ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਨਿਕਲੂਗਾ ਨਾ ਹੱਲੇ ਤਾਂ ਆਪਾਂ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਭਾਵ ਆਪਾਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਦੇਰੀ ਲਾ ਦਿੰਨੇ ਆ ਉਸ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਇਹ ਆਵਾਜ਼ ਕੱਢਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ we take so long to take that sound that voice out of our inside but the moment ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ saying ਕਹਿੰਦੇ what will happen ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਰੁਣਾ ਮਿਆ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ that ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ's compassion will spill into you ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ will shower you will just blast you with their kripa with their compassion with their kindness with their mercy but when I say that I am lost in this illusion oh my God I need to get out it's just causing me more and more pain I'm getting more attached to it to the pleasures and I'm suffering more and more so when I say hum andale and bikhe bikrate kyo chal hai gur chali Vaheguru ji will see our pain ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦਇਆ ਕਰੇ ਸੁਖ ਦਾਤਾ ਹਮ ਲਾਵੇ ਆਪਨ ਪਾਲੀ what will happen the daya will happen ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ what will happen at this point ਪਿਆਰਿਓ the daya will happen at this point the kindness the kirpa the mercy of ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ will flow in ਪਿਆਰਿਓ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਦਇਆ ਕਰੇ ਸੁਖ ਦਾਤਾ because that one is the one that blesses us with sukh with Sangat ji, with that true anand from inside, but that daya will come, that karuna maya will only come, Sangat ji, when we admit I am stuck. ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਉਹ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਉਹਦੀ ਦਇਆ ਆਊਗੀ. First the daya will come that will show us, the compassion will come when Waheguru Ji will start our journey. As we're on this journey and the lower and lower we go from inside, the kripa will come, the grace will flow in. Once the grace is there, we'll become powerful enough where no vice will be able to come anywhere near us, and that will lead into breaking away from this illusion and having darshan of Satguru Ji, of Akal Purkh Waheguru Ji. So Sangat Ji will be continuing this journey of this Salok Sehaskriti from Monday. So we've got the weekend obviously coming up, and we'll be continuing, and the Samapti will probably take about another 2 to 3 sessions on this Katha, Sangat Ji. So we'll either be finishing it on maybe Tuesday or by Wednesday, Sangat Ji. So we'll keep all the Sangat informed of how we're going and how we're getting on, and we'll announce to the Sangat when it's going to be the Samapti, when we come to the end of the Salok Sehaskriti Bani, to the 67 sloks. So Sangat Ji, please, 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 please do forgive me and for all my mistakes, and let us all start our journey. Yearn for those Mahapurkhs, those saints that will tell us our true state from inside, and you'll just know when you're in their presence, and they'll tell you what's going on, and they will tell you, come on, if you really want Waheguru Ji, then this is the path. Sangat Ji, that could be in the roop of Panj Pyare as well for us. So Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa,